It's 2020 and we're celebrating a new year, thinking of those resolutions for the year to come. However, on the other side of the world, the news isn't so great. There's a new outbreak of an unknown virus in China. In the city of Wuhan, those who are becoming ill seem to have a link to a local fish market. People are becoming seriously ill, and cases continue to rise and spread. The World Health Organization then announces that this is a new coronavirus. The news that no one wanted to hear, that the outbreak is a global pandemic. Testing ramps up around the world. Governments provide guidance to the best they can. Travel plans are halted. Despite these measures, more and more people become ill. We see our first case in the bubble of St. Andrews. Then,
we will beat the coronavirus, and we will beat it together. And therefore, I urge you, at this moment of national emergency, to stay at home, protect our NHS, and save lives. Thank you.
For everyone, you must stay at home unless it is absolutely essential to go out, and that includes working from home wherever possible. Life should not feel normal for you right now, so if it is, then you are not doing the right things, and I want to ask you today to please put that right.
As far as work, lockdown has actually really had positive and negative effects, because I work at the theatre, albeit part of the university. Our sector has been absolutely decimated by this. I'm still talking to colleagues who don't know if their theatres will be able to survive past spring, and just the loss of that being in a room together for people who love theatre, it is hideous. It's really emotional, but also just in terms of colleagues losing work, us losing those opportunities to be together. Words can't describe how awful that is. However, we are creative people, and necessity being the mother of invention, we've found ways to try and make things work. Creative Scotland created a fund which we were beneficiaries of. So the opportunity is that right now we're finding new ways to work with artists. We're doing some lovely projects online, and I don't think it would have been quite the same if we'd been working in the way that we always had. So without sounding too Pollyanna, you know, I think we take any positives we can whenever we can find them, really. When thinking about outside of work, the difficult bits have been the really personal bits, you know, seeing my teenage daughter really struggling with it. You know, I think it's tremendously difficult when you're in your mid-teens and things are already quite heightened, and then to live through this and everything that that entails, and to actually have a lot of hope for the future seemingly taken away from her is just hideous. Right at the start of the lockdown, my older daughter was studying in Canada, and we were due to go and visit her in Vancouver, and clearly that didn't happen. We started cancelling shows at the Bar on my birthday on the 13th of March, and so I've always got that date in mind as the date where everything started to unravel a bit. Also, just in practical terms, my partner's a filmmaker, so he's not had much work. However, on the positive side, we have had lots of time together as a family. We had a great summer, and I live near the beach, and lots of walks on the beach, and there's been a sort of stillness and franticness combined So sometimes work feels like we're working extra hard to do slightly less, or just working in a different way. We're having to learn everything from new, and I think that affects the personal as well as the professional. What can we do? What can we carry with us that would be positive from having lived through this extraordinary experience? I think that when we're on the other side, and there will be another side, we will recognise our own resilience. We'll recognise that when things beyond our control happen to us all, we will come out the other side and we'll survive, and we'll find new ways of doing things. I really hope that we find ways of connecting locally rather than always going to big supermarkets, even just shopping locally, about the way that so many people have turned to things like craft and cookery, you know, really tactile moments in all of our lives. I think that we've learned to treasure those. So yeah, I hope we're more grateful for what we've got, basically. It's as simple as that. When I think about what I'd like to continue with going forward, I only miss part of my commute. I miss looking at the landscape and listening to podcasts at, you know, early hours in the morning and late in the evening. That bit as you go through from North Fife, from over the bridge into North Fife, and the seasons, you know, just I've missed all of the produce growing in the fields, and the stubble, and the sunrises, and the sunsets, and the progress of the seasons, and I want to have some of that back. But on the other hand, being able to speak like this over videos, and connect nationally and internationally, is really great. It felt terribly glamorous. In the summer, we were doing a project with students where we simultaneously, from me and my home in Dundee, simultaneously speaking to people in China and LA, and having to work around different time zones. So someone was just getting up for breakfast, I was in the middle of my day, and someone was speaking to us just before bedtime. And there was a truly international, beautiful vibe from that. And we talked a lot about just the sense of where we were in our day and in lockdown across the world. So that was lovely. I'd love to retain some of that connectedness without having to travel. But at the same time, I really miss the connection with some colleagues at work. While some relationships have blossomed using this format and we've grown stronger, I think others, it just feels like, you know, we need to be in a room together. Some of my colleagues were so fond of each other, just want to hug them. Others, it's just great to be able to see people. I think I've forgotten what height people are because we only see this much. There are odd details of life. I'm involved in the Aurora programme just now, and my usual mode of networking at these things is just to stand next to someone, as we all do when we're pouring ourselves a cup of tea, and just commenting on the room, on what's been said, being able to develop natural conversations. Everything like this has to be planned. So we lose a lot of those opportune encounters, those encounters that haven't been planned. And I really miss that. Well, I think looking back, looking at March 13th, I don't mind admitting that was my 50th birthday. And obviously that's a kind of a landmark in anyone's life. So I remember the detail of that day. And what I remember is this sort of sense of things slipping, of cancelling. We cancelled over 100 shows that day, and it didn't feel like the time to celebrate, but we did anyway. We had a lovely day, and it was full of warmth and friendliness. And in terms of what I would advise myself, if I knew on that day that we'd be here in November, December, we'll be talking about Christmas. I spoke to a friend about this earlier on today, and I can't top her answer. She said, "Oh, well, you would just say, don't hold your breath, mate, wouldn't you?" So I'm going with that. Don't hold your breath. We're in this for the long haul.